Okay, welcome back everyone. Now that we've gone through a few principles of on-page SEO, you're probably starting to get a feel for just how important content is, but also having a content strategy. Part of this content strategy for SEO is by doing a process which is known as content mapping. Content mapping, or sometimes referred to as content architecture, is essentially thinking about three things: what content you have currently on your site, how it's organized on the site, and how it's accessed. So those URLs we talked about, as well as linking. In an ideal situation, every single post or page or type of structured content on your site should target a specific keyword and or group of few closely related keywords. Think drain cleaning, drain clearing if you're a plumber. This could be something like HVAC installation or HVAC replacement. So we want the pages to have individual target. We don't want pages that are targeting similar or the same keywords. What this will do, it won't bolster your rankings. In fact, it will confuse search engines and they'll end up not being able to assign full value to any one page, and it will instead dilute the value of both or the multiples of pages. So that's why it's important to plan ahead and make a keyword or content map when you're just starting out with a brand new website. But it's also important to do an audit, an ongoing audit of the content that you have and map that out as well. This will not only allow you to see areas of improvement, but also things that you're lacking with your content based on what keywords you want to target, and that can help you build out content for the future. Let's take a look at how to build out a content map and take some examples of how to structure new content. Here is an example of a content map by SEObrothers.co. We can see that they've got all of the components of successfully mapping out the current content on their site. Here's how to use it for your own site. You can make a sheet like this in Excel or even Google Sheets. The main components that you're going to want to focus on are this page URL first of all. Here you're going to want to list out all of the current URLs that you have on your website. Next, since you haven't been doing SEO and maybe not have tracked your rankings already, go ahead and put down the keywords that you want the page to rank for and that you have targeted for that page. Now, this will be the section for the SEO title that we made through Yoast. Then we're going to make a column for the existing page title. Because we're using WordPress, that will default to the H1 tag that we spoke about in the previous lesson. We're also going to put a field for the current meta description for the page as well. Listing all of this information out in a single chart gives you an overall picture of what your content looks like. Start by putting down all of your page URLs. Next, put down the keywords that you want to be targeted for all of those pages. After you've done your keyword research, if you see that there are pages that don't target the keywords that you have listed yet, go ahead and add those keywords in its own column lower down, and later on when we discuss building out new content, I'll show you how to fill in those parts with the new page URL. Next, put down the existing SEO titles that you've went through and made that we talked about from our last lesson. If you don't have any SEO title written down for the page URLs, go ahead and leave this column blank. Same thing for the page title or the H1 tag. Go ahead and list them all out if you have them for the URLs, but if not, leave it blank. And we'll do the same for the meta description as well. If you're starting completely from scratch and you don't have any keywords ranked out and you don't have any pages targeted for specific keywords yet, go ahead and just list the URLs and then look at your keyword research list. Look at all of the buckets you made for each piece of major content type that you have on your site. Take each primary keyword that you decided on for each of those keyword buckets and attach that to its corresponding page URL on your site. Include any long tail or LSI keywords in this bucket as well. Remember, it's no longer important that we just focus on one keyword, but now Google understands the intent behind other keywords that are closely related, so your page can rank for those as well. If your page doesn't have an existing SEO title in the Yoast settings, looking at this chart and creating one, as long as you're within the character limits, is a good way to plan out your titles before you put them in individually. That way you can make sure you're not using keywords more than once per page, and also that it's consistent with the page's URL and meta description. Then go ahead and do the same for your page title, which will become the H1 tag. Remember, humans have to read this information, so it should be closely related as the SEO title, but not necessarily the exact same. Now is the time where we're going to create an outline for a future piece of content that aligns with this keyword that will then create a page or a post for. Let's take a look at an easy and quick way to do that. Alright, for this step, you're going to want to open up a Google Doc or a Microsoft Word document as well, whichever you prefer. So this is a basic new content outline. As we can see at the top, you should make the name of your folder the URL that you're going to use. This is for a good reference to this piece of content when you're looking through your documents, and it's an easy way to know, once you do this on a large scale, what piece of content is targeting what keywords. Next, go ahead and record the primary keyword or keywords that you're going to be targeting for that page. Make sure to use your keyword research to inform this, not just your intuition. Next, you're going to want to give the page in large text a title. This is going to be the page title in WordPress, which will ultimately become your H1. If we scroll down, we can then see that I've got a couple of H2s, and these are just long tail queries and LSI keywords that we generated from your keyword research. You can put between 2 and 5 of these depending on how long your content is going to be. This piece of content has 5 H2s, which are going to be separate sections, because it's going to be about 1,250 words. If yours was, say, 650, then 2 to 3 subsections of H2s would be fine. Next, through that competitive analysis you did of keywords from other organizations' websites, or through the LSI generator, put a few bullet points under each H2 that you also want to discuss. These could either be terms that you want to mix into your writing, or if you have long enough content, H3 tags that you could then build out content for. The idea here is just to get the target keywords worked into the content to understand the overview of what the content is going to look like and how to make the content in the most useful way for not only search engines but human. When you're forecasting, you're going to want to include your primary keyword not only in the URL as discussed, but also in your H1, which will be the WordPress page title. Do this for all of the keywords that you have mapped out from your keyword research that you don't yet have content for your website. Also, if you do have keywords that you recorded that you already have a page for that would logically work its way in with that current page's content, feel free to add in some of those longer tail keywords to that piece of content and record that page as now including those keywords. The goal is to make sure that you're accurately mapping out and have the content for all of the target terms that you want your company and website to rank for.